If you walk the path of discipline long enough, one question eventually appears in the quiet. Why does this feel so lonely? Not dramatic loneliness, but a slow widening distance between you and others. Conversations feel thinner, habits no longer align, and familiar comfort begins to fade. Many turn back at this point, believing something has gone wrong. But in ancient thought, this loneliness was not a mistake, it was a sign. Long before the modern world, Miyamoto Musashi wrote that the path of mastery is a solitary one, not because others are forbidden from walking beside you, but because few are willing to accept the cost. Discipline demands subtraction before it offers clarity. When excess is removed, what remains is quiet, and most people do not know how to live there. This story follows a man named Haru. His life is ordinary by all visible measures. He works, sleeps, speaks, and moves through the world without noise. And yet, beneath that ordinary exterior, something has shifted. He has chosen discipline not as a temporary effort, but as an identity. This choice slowly reshapes everything around him. The first separation. Haru did not wake up one day deciding to become disciplined. There was no dramatic collapse or external failure. Instead, there was a persistent unease, a sense that his thoughts moved faster than his actions, and his actions were driven by distraction rather than intention. He noticed how easily his attention dissolved, how rarely his days reflected his values. That quiet dissatisfaction became his teacher. In Zen practice, this moment is often described as the beginning of awareness, not enlightenment, but recognition. Recognition that the noise within has grown too loud to ignore. When Haru began to reduce that noise, even slightly, he noticed an immediate effect. People around him continued as normal, but he was no longer fully synchronized with them. Bushido teaches that the warrior must align action with inner principle, not external approval. As Haru removed habits that dulled his awareness, he stopped participating in certain conversations, routines, and comforts. Nothing about this was announced, yet the distance grew. Discipline had begun to separate him from the crowd, not through arrogance, but through incompatibility. The weight of silence. Silence was the first real test. Haru did not fill it with explanations. When asked why he no longer joined certain activities, he responded calmly or not at all. This restraint unsettled people more than open refusal would have. Silence forces others to confront their own assumptions, and many resist that discomfort. Zen monks understood silence as a form of compression. When words are removed, weight concentrates, thoughts become heavier, intentions clarify. Haru realized that speaking less revealed more, yet this clarity came at a price. Without constant verbal engagement, social connection weakened. Musashi warned against unnecessary expression, stating that the way is not found in decorative skill, but in substance. Haru began to experience this directly. By withholding reaction and explanation, he preserved energy. But preservation is often mistaken for withdrawal. Loneliness started to appear, not sharply, but gradually, like a shadow lengthening at sunset, the loss of shared pace. One evening, Haru noticed something subtle during a gathering. The rhythm of conversation felt rushed to him, restless. People spoke quickly, jumped from one topic to another, laughed loudly, yet rarely seemed present. He felt no anger, only a quiet mismatch. His pace had slowed. Theirs had not. In ancient training, Ichigo Zanmai refers to total focus on a single task. This principle reshapes not only work, but perception. Haru's days had become structured around fewer, deliberate actions. When life is narrowed intentionally, it no longer moves at the same speed as a distracted world. This difference in pace creates separation even without intent. Discipline slows the mind while sharpening it. Those who live in constant reaction experience this stillness as absence. Haru began declining invitations not from superiority, but because his inner rhythm no longer aligned. He did not replace lost interactions with new ones. He allowed the emptiness to remain. Misunderstanding the path. With time, subtle judgments emerged from others. Some interpreted Haru's restraint as detachment. Others saw it as rigidity. Discipline is often misunderstood because it resists visible validation. There are no constant signals of progress. Only consistency remains. Bushido emphasizes rectitude, the ability to choose the correct action without wavering. Haru learned that explaining his reasoning diluted its power. The path does not ask to be justified. It demands to be walked. Still, Misunderstanding carried weight. Humans are social, and exclusion, even quiet exclusion, presses inward. Zen training does not remove discomfort. It teaches how to remain within it without collapse. Haru faced nights where solitude felt heavier than clarity. Yet, he noticed something important. The discomfort did not weaken him. It sharpened his awareness of attachment. Gaiman and the endurance of distance. Gaiman is often translated as endurance, but it means more than tolerance. It is dignified patience in the face of hardship, without complaint or display. Haru began to understand that loneliness itself was a form of training. The impulse to escape it revealed unfinished dependency. Rather than filling the gap with noise or substitute connection, he observed the sensation directly. He sat with it. In doing so, its edges softened. What remained was not loneliness, but space. Space for precision. Space for intention. Space for discipline to deepen beyond behavior into identity. Musashi wrote that the warrior must become accustomed to disrespect and misunderstanding. Praise weakens judgment. Isolation refines it. Haru stopped measuring himself by participation. He measured himself by alignment. The quiet reordering. Something subtle began to shift. Without forcing change, Haru's presence grew heavier. When he spoke, his words carried weight. When he acted, there was no excess movement. Those who remained around him adjusted their behavior, often unconsciously. Calm draws attention without seeking it. In Zen, this is not charisma, but gravity. It is the result of inner weight, not performance. Haru had not become louder, more confident, or expressive. He had become solid. Loneliness transformed into containment. Discipline had stripped away unnecessary relationships, not through rejection, but through incompatibility. What remained was not emptiness, but alignment. Few connections, but precise ones. Fewer words, but stronger meaning. Surrendering the need to belong. The final transformation did not arrive as triumph. It arrived as surrender. Haru relinquished the expectation that the disciplined path should feel socially rewarded. He accepted that depth is often solitary. Not forever, but repeatedly. Ikigai is often misunderstood as personal happiness. In older understanding, it is reason-bound to responsibility. Haru recognized that his path was not designed for comfort or approval. It was designed to be carried. In releasing the need to belong, he paradoxically became capable of true connection. Not constant, not broad, but real. He no longer needed others to mirror his choices. He stood within them fully. Conclusion. The loneliness that confirms the path. The path of discipline feels lonely because it removes what is unnecessary. Most lives are built around mutual distraction. When you step out of that pattern, silence expands. This silence is not punishment, it is invitation. Ancient warriors understood that before strength can stabilize, it must separate. Discipline clarifies internal alignment before external harmony returns. Loneliness is not the end of the path. It is a passage within it. If your path feels quieter, narrower, and less populated, do not rush to correct it. Do not assume something is missing. What you are experiencing may be reduction, not loss. The way does not shout to reassure you. It waits for you to walk it anyway.